Okay, so your first real homework assignment is data visualization, an assignment. So you're going to be using ggplot to make some cool, hopefully interesting plots that you'll be happy to show other people. So it's all explained here on the handout. You want to make sure you finish the ggplot lab first. The data set we're going to be using, I tried to find something a little bit goofier to make some plots. This is a data set of Tasmanian abalones. Abalones are a kind of snail. People eat them. And what they did was they wanted to just collect data as the abalones were harvested and use that in order to figure out some characteristics about it. You can look at the link below, excuse me, you can look at the link below to learn more about that data set. So there were 4,000 abalones, 10 variables were measured. There was a categorical variable, which was called sex, and somehow, I don't know how you do that, they determined whether or not the abalones were male or female. Some were given the score of I, which is marked as indeterminate. So it's not that the abalone didn't have a sex, it's that the researcher couldn't tell what it was. Then an integer one, which is how many rings it is. In general, the ring, this is inside the shell, you can see how many years old the abalone is. However, to count the rings, you have to actually cut the shell in half, which of course kills the abalone. So I think one of the things they were doing with this data set was trying to figure out if you could determine how old an abalone was without doing that to it. Then it measured the length, diameter, and height. That's 3 dimensions for the size of the snail. And then they made the whole weight, the whole shell, then the shucked weight, which is once you take the stuff out, it's divided into 3 categories: the shell, the meat, and then the viscera, which is kind of the goo that's inside a snail. And so with those 3 weight together, those 3 should add up to being the whole weight or pretty close to it. This was all measured in millimeters and grams. The data set you can get from the U Drive, or it's attached to the Google Classroom data set. So the idea is you're not going to do any real analysis on it, but instead you're going to do just some graphs. So you're going to use view, summary, and head to check it out. Then you're going to use a couple different geoms. You're going to use geom histogram to make some histograms, geom box plot to make some box plots, and then geom point or geom jitter as you'd like to check it out. Remember, geom jitter just adds a little bit of extra wiggle to the data points. In this case, I'm not sure you actually need to use that, but if you were looking at, say, rings, having that jitter would help you see all the dots so they wouldn't be right on top of each other. And then you're going to add a geom smooth at the end. So the idea is you're going to write this as a nice R Markdown file, turn it into a PDF, and submit it. Unlike a lab, which you can redo, a homework assignment can't be redone, so you want to try to do a good job. Also, while you can work with your friends, you have to do your own write-up and your own code. So this is sort of your first real homework assignment. To do that, so again, we want graphs, but we also want a couple sentences about each of the graphs to explain what's going on. All right.